friends, it's Gwen. I'm back in the studio today for another scrapbook process video. Today's share is featuring Spiegelmom Scraps sequin mixes, and we're going to be making a super cute shaker pocket for a layout. I want to share with you how you can make one just like this for your layouts, so follow along with me step by step. This is the photo that I'll be using, and here is my secret ingredient to super easy shaker pockets. I purchased a bunch of these Project Life pocket sheets ages ago, and I didn't do as much of that kind of scrapbooking as I had initially intended, so I figured out a way that I could repurpose this supply. I'll start by trimming my pattern paper to fit inside the pocket. So I am just working with the 4x4 layout, but this works with any of those pocket pages. And then I want to sort of get a rough idea of the size of the pocket that I want to make. And I am going to trim this one down just a little. I find this process works best when you know exactly the size of the shaker pocket you want to use. So it's a good idea to plan out your page first and then create the pocket. Now comes the fun part. I'm going to add in this sequin mix first. It is called Maggie's Dream, and it matches the Cocoa Vanilla Studio papers perfectly. I'm then going to mix in some of the white sequins from this mix. It is called Cold Days Ahead. There are some snowflakes in this one, so I just make sure that they are not included. And lucky last, I had these vellum hearts. I think they came from a pack that Spiegelmom Scraps had with mist in it and some other embellishments. They have been kicking around a little while, and I thought they would be the perfect addition for this cute little shaker pocket. So you'll see at this point that 3 of the sides of the pocket are sealed from the fact that it was a pocket page. So I really only have one side to seal, but I am going to go around all of the edges with my sewing machine. And here's where my OCD kicks in. Now that all of the edges are secured with the stitching, I can go ahead and trim off the excess parts of that clear sheet. And what ends up happening is I trim off the part that was actually the join. So while I used 3 of those joins to create the pocket, they don't end up staying on the pocket itself once it's all finished and put together. I just used them as a bit of a hack, a bit of an easy way to create the pocket itself. And isn't it cute? I love that it's going to be a design element for my page. I am going with a more blocky design, not a grid design, but sort of very, geometrical and block-like. I'm going to tee my photo with one of the pocket cards that comes in the collection, and then I'm going to use my shaker pocket as a bit of a grounding element for all of my embellishment clusters. I'm working on a plain white background here, so I want to make sure everything is nice and straight. I also want to cross off the card that I'm using. I often do this for my ephemera packs so that when I'm working on the next project, I know what cards have been taken and used. I can quickly just see what I've got left to work with. If you're ever wanting more information on my favorite tools, like the T-square ruler, there are details in the description box below. So I am going to lock into position the 3 largest elements. I'm going to use my ATG to do that, and I don't know what happened. I don't think it liked adding the adhesive to the foam there. I have such a love-hate relationship with that thing because it's invaluable. I use it all the time. I love it so much. But loading it up can be a bit tricky, so much so that I actually created my own YouTube video for it, which I reference myself from time to time. With all of those big elements now in place, I do want to do a sweep through the ephemera that I have from the collection. I like to get an idea of what I'm working with, and I also like to exclude anything that I know won't work. It's a funny one because as a creative person, we like options, we like choices, but for me, when I have too many choices, I get decision fatigue, I get overwhelmed, and I just take forever to make a scrapbook layout. And I've worked out that if I have fewer choices, The whole process just goes far more smoothly for me. I found some book icons in the collection, and this photo is my daughter reading, and I want to document her love of reading. So I know I want to use those, and I do want to add in some pretty florals. So I am just going to focus on those things. Oh, and I didn't mention the typewriter that's above the photo there. That was actually printed on one of the pocket cards, and I have just fussy cut that one out and added some foam behind it to create my own little embellishment. So the title for the page is going to be Cherish These Days, and I am going to use the puffy alphabet to add the word together. For now, I just have it placed on my alignment guide, and I will just keep it there until I know 100% where it's going to go. I am going to move my focus back to the embellishment clusters, and I end up adding the main cluster is sort of above my photo there on the left, and I want to balance that all out with a cluster on the right. I've then centered the word together between the photo and the title there. With that looking good, I am going to build out this top cluster a little bit more by adding a floral element there, and I do want to attach this puffy heart. It is fabric, so I am using a fabric glue for that. Things are getting serious because I'm gluing stuff down. Super happy with how the clusters are looking. So it is time to lock a few things into position. It is part of my process to place all of the elements first and give myself the flexibility to change my mind. So I generally do build out all the clusters and get all of the elements into their position and then go back and add my liquid adhesive. The butterflies I'm using here have been fussy cut from one of the pattern papers, and I'm actually going to add some dimension to them and use 3D foam. And you will notice that I actually only added the adhesive in the center part of the butterfly. I like to fold up their wings a little bit so that they look like they're going to fly off the page. While I was working on that, I did notice that the pocket itself wasn't really adhered to the background super well. So I did go ahead and add some stitching to my title there at the bottom, and then I went over the edge again of the pocket and actually stitched it to that background of my page. You can see here now that it is not going anywhere. Adding the stitching also gives me a little bit of a moment to step away from the layout. I do like to do that. I like to take a little breath part of the way through the creating process, and it's at this point that I realized that I needed some smaller embellishments, some sort of finishing touches for the page. So I did draw on the accessory stickers that are in the collection. I'm going to go with 3 of these, and I'm going to use them help draw the eye around the page. I do talk a little bit about this on my channel, and for this layout I want the eye to start in the top left hand corner and travel down to the photo and then across to the right hand bottom corner. So when I add things, especially at this sort of late stage in the layout, I always want to keep that flow in mind. So here you can see all of the little details of the layout. The shaker pocket is a super cute addition, and I love that I can create them pretty easily by using those pocket pages. Thank you so much for being here, my creative friends. If you like the way that I scrapbook or the way that I chat about the way that I scrapbook, I would love it if you would subscribe to the channel to see more videos just like this one. I have even more sequin inspiration for you right here, and I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, bye!